This is the last panel discussion, pre-lunch. And regarding what we are going to focus on, I would like to quote some facts here. Did you all know that the growth in the travel and tourism industry outpaced the global economy for the 6th consecutive time in 2016? The industry grew 3.3%, generating $7.6 trillion worldwide, which is 10.2% of the total GDP. The sector also supported a total of 292 million jobs in the year 2016, 1 in 10 of all jobs in India. Now that gives us stronger reasons to make Odisha the most favored global destination when it comes to tourism. That's the reason why we are going to have the next panel discussion on the theme of this conclave, and that is tourism to be the driving force of future economy of Odisha. And we have the honor to have amidst us esteemed speakers who have decades of experience and expertise in the field of public administration, hospitality, tour operation. I now request former IFS, DG, ICCR, and Foreign Secretary, Government of India, Shri Amarendra Khatwa ji, to please join us on stage. A true Odia, and he has always been loving our culture and artists and promoting them all over the globe. What an honor to have you in this platform, sir. We welcome you on dais, and may I request Shri Vikram Oberoi, President, Hotel Association of India, New Delhi, and MD and CEO, the Oberoi Group, to please join us on dais. Welcome to this special platform, sir. We all are waiting to hear from you. Shri Pranab Sarkar, President, IATO, New Delhi, is kindly requested to join us back for this session as well. After all that he spoke in the first session, the House here wants to know more from him. Shri Benjamin Simon, MD, Travel Link, Bhubaneswar, is kindly requested to join us on stage. This gentleman has decades of experience when it comes to tour operation. And the moderator for this session, Shri Rahul Chakravarti, Consultant Tourism, FICCI, New Delhi, hello, is also requested to please join us on stage, who wonderfully compared the inaugural session where the governor was there to grace this occasion. Time now to welcome all the esteemed speakers and the moderator with bouquets. So I'll request volunteers to kindly present fresh flowers to all distinguished speakers and the moderator on the dais. That's Indian way to welcome guests on a special occasion. And for this panel discussion, we indeed have luminaries of the industry talking about something which is really, really important. Welcome, gentlemen, and over to the moderator.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
So let me, it's tourism to be the driving force for future economy of Odisha. It is indeed a driving force. So may I now request, without delaying, our first speaker, Mr. Asit Tripathi, who's here? Not here? Okay. Sir, Mr. Amarendra Khatwa, sir, you please, sir. If you can kindly restrict yourself to 3 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. I believe that this is the need of the hour for Odisha. We have few things as economic driving force. One of the major force is tourism. For the next conclave, I assure you that I will try to bring 6-7 ambassadors of different countries who can discuss with us, basically the trade and industry people, how we can get more tourism from those countries. Who are those countries? One, Odisha receives mostly tourists from 4 countries: Italy, Spain, Russia, and one other country I'm forgetting. Those ambassadors plus ambassadors of diaspora countries. So that from the trade and industry, you can consult them and try to do promotional exercise later on. Second, when we are talking about promoting tourism in Odisha, we find that we have limitations in infrastructure. Promoting Areas where tourism locations are there, they are in difficult areas. We must target 6-7 areas. For example, Buddhist tourism. There are 6 major tourist operators in India, 8 in Buddhist countries. Our trade and industry must plan to have MOUs with these groups. If required, please ask me. I will be your non-paid ambassador to help you in this. Because lots of Buddhist tourists come to India. Last year it increased by 22%. The other areas where there is lots of interest now, like we are talking about dolphins in Chilika, we are talking about tiger reserves, these are niche areas. We must market them. To market them, we must translate, publish some good literature. This literature must be translated. I'm not talking about what government can do. I'm 35 years I'm doing trade and industry for Government of India. Let us try to have a bureau, translate some of these. We'll try to promote them in the target countries. This action plan, trade and industry can work out and take help from the government. These are some of the points I'm mentioning. Basically, creation of infrastructure, policy, etc., government will take time, government will decide on that, but trade and industry must see how we can promote our niche areas, how we can get more tourists, how we, so for example, every year we send about 200 cultural troops from Odisha, or doing Odissi. Each of them go to different countries for single performance. Each of them can be used for tourism promotion. We can send literature through them for distribution. This can be done through ICCR. These are some of the points, and actively I will work with the association and try to help in my all possible way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You have very lucidly identified the target countries. May I now request Shri Vikram Oberoi, President HAI, to kindly offer his views.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We all talk about tourism and the employment opportunities it creates, and I think as I look at Orissa, we have many young people in the state, people who are positive, who are looking to grow their careers, who want to do well in life, and I think tourism is a great equalizer in doing that. It creates opportunity for employment amongst the young as well as the old. And I think that's really the foundation that both private enterprise and government needs to recognize. And I think if we recognize that, we can then build on that and build a bright future for the state. Many people have talked about international tourism, and I have a slightly different perspective. It may be right, it may be wrong, but it's certainly different. I think if you look at what's happening in the West, and it was alluded to earlier, economies are slowing down. If you look at what's happening with travel in the West, people are taking much shorter holidays, they're traveling more frequently, but they're traveling in closer proximity to where they live. And then if you look at India, India's a large country. We have roughly 8 million tourists who come into India. And they come for a week, maybe 10 days. And I think there are many challenges in bringing a reasonable proportion of that number to Orissa. I think number one, you need to look at the destinations that we have, look at the experiences, and provide world-class infrastructure and experience, which will take time. And therefore, what I'd like to suggest is we have India, which is growing rapidly. Our economy is growing at a substantial rate. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And people are traveling more. So if I look at Oberoi hotels. If you looked at our hotels 10 years ago, we had probably no more than 20% of our guests were from India. 80% of our guests were foreign. Today, if you look at that, it is 55% Indian, in some locations, even going up to 60% Indian. Overall, it's 50% from India, and 50% of our guests are from outside of India. And I think that presents a great opportunity for the state of Orissa to focus on tourism from within our country. They know us better, they are closer, they understand our culture, and we don't need to do as much to promote within our own state. And I think it'll bring immediate or much quicker results that will benefit the economy, that will create employment, and that will help generate investment. So my suggestion is that when we, state government, private enterprise, tour operators, we all come together and see how we can market and promote tourism within India in the short term, not to ignore the longer term opportunities that exist with the international market, but there's some things we can do immediately that will get immediate benefit. And I was looking at, I've been coming to Bhubaneswar for many years. 10 years ago, there were a handful of flights coming from other cities in India. Today, there are multiple flights coming. And that's only going to grow. So there's a great opportunity sitting right at our doorstep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You are yourself an eminent investor. And I personally have a lot of questions for you during the discussion. May I now request Shri Pranab Sarkar, President IATO, to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you, Rahul. Good afternoon. I appreciate for inviting us and giving some opportunity to talk about the tourism, the driving force of Odisha. State economic growth is a very powerful message. In fact, the theme is excellent, and we need to look into it to take the state the next level of tourism growth, which is very important. And before I come to the main point, I would like to highlight some few points that we are aware that tourism is the key driver for economic growth. It contributes towards GDP, job creations, conservation of rich heritage, culture, nature, image building of the nation and state, infrastructure development, education, skill development and training. Everything comes together for any development of tourism for the state or the country. As per WTTC report, the Indian tourism economic growth is very positive. GDP contribution 9.6 in 2016 and expected to grow 10% in 2017. Employment, direct employment, which is 5.8% in 2016, going to be 6.1% in 2017. Employment including indirect, 9.3% in 2016 and expected to be 9.6% in 2017. Contribution to foreign exchange, 5.4% in 2016 to increase 6.8% in 2017. Investment in tourism, 5.7%, which is equivalent to USD 34 billion. And in next 10 years' time, it is going to double up. And same situation shall remain for domestic tourism also. They will not left behind, it will grow also with the similar faster growth pattern. To achieve above, the growth of the state government should be given the importance to the tourism sector because it gives employment opportunities in hospitality sector, transport, tour and travel, airline, any entertainment, attractions, natural and man-made. Development of industries require the airports, hotels, food and beverage, connectivity, air, rail, road and waterways. State government should give allotment, which I think Odisha Tourism has already have the land bank, loan facility and single window clearance. So other state to follow the same. Training and manpower for skill development in hospitality sector is the most important, because when you have the infrastructure and you invite the international tourism to come to your state, you need to have trained manpower to service. Without having trained manpower with your hotels or any service industry, it will be a disaster. Therefore, it is very important that state government should give importance for the skill development, not only train the people for the hospitality sector, but also the airline, also the restaurants, even transport, even the taxi drivers, because it is going to help to develop not only the services but image of the state, that this state is tourism friendly. And finally, the environment and the hygienic condition of the state has to be up to the mark of international level. Therefore, it is very important that our general public is also trained or educated through media or otherwise to keep the city clean. So therefore, it is important that state government come forward and help all these various points as raised by me. And tourism contributes to economic growth by way of generating, there are two ways to generate, that is employment generation. One is the while developing infrastructure, construction buildings, hotels, roads, airports, and other areas. The suppliers also get involved, as in the previous panelist, he mentioned about when the construction takes place, then the cement, steel, glasses, crockery, cutlery, furniture, those things are all connected. So therefore, you are creating jobs to all those areas, including the agriculture, because in hotel industry, you are having a big component of food and supplies. Therefore, it is important that tourism is catering to all those areas. And direct employment in service sector is, again, the hotels, airlines, transport, tour and travel, restaurants. So this is the, both way it takes place. The economic development takes place both ways, because you are generating employment direct as well as indirect. When you are employing, the circulation of money is happening within the state, and now this money is coming from where? When you invite tourists coming to your state, they are spending the money coming here. That means this money is not with the state. When tourists come from other state, they spend in this state. So you are generating extra fund. Not only that, but also you are earning foreign exchange when the foreign tourist is coming. Therefore, the extra revenue is being generated for the state, and this extra revenue is going to work with the government as going to help develop infrastructure. The benefit is coming to the state. The economic benefit is coming to the state, and therefore it is very important that this is a economic driver. And when money is spent, it is creating the multiplier effect of circulation of fund, and government is benefited, and our own state people will be benefited, because without the money nothing happens. And when people are getting employment, that means your state is becoming richer by way of earning through the tourism. And final point is that to really have this put in all together in place to attract tourism for your state, you have to have a very powerful and strong marketing and promotion department. Because without the marketing and promotion activities, how you are going to advertise, how you are going to sensitize the people of other state or other countries that what is available. You may have, treasure of all the temples, you may have good beaches, you may have good golf courses, but unless you sensitize and advertise or express to the other people what is available in your state, it may not sell. Therefore, your visibility has to be there through the international exhibitions. You have to participate and get a good exposure and take a lot of road shows, and do not only abroad but also within the states. You have to do B2B road shows where you will sensitize the treasure of your state and create a demand. Unless the demand is there, your product is not sold. So therefore, it is very important that state government should emphasize on the marketing aspect and bring in more and more tourists, and this will help the economic advantage for the state. And I, on behalf of Indian Association of Tour Operators, will support any drive of the state for marketing, for the road shows, or any sharing of knowledge for the development of tourism. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sarkar, and once again reiterating the fact that tourism has vital linkage effect to the diverse sectors of our economy. May I now request Benjamin to kindly give his view.
Good afternoon, everybody, once again. Yes, tourism is vital for Odisha because it strengthens the economy, it takes forward more employment and bring in community sustainability growth, sustainable growth. Odisha is a fabulous destination. Let us realize that. You cannot ignore that the bouquet of the offerings she has to offer is unmatched. She is the mother of all. Experience. We are talking about experience. It is experience and beyond. I think we need to go one step ahead than always telling experience. It is experience and beyond to have the present day travelers to come and experience this beauty of Odisha. So I personally feel that there's a tremendous potential to move forward. For that, you need to have, number one, proper connectivity. Connectivity, of course, we have established with the South Asian market, with AirAsia coming in. We need to also keep engagement with other South Asian carriers, equally with Middle East, to get in European and westbound flights coming in, and take the opportunity now with Air India reviving the European connectivity with Europe markets like Rome, Milan, Vienna, all these places, because Odisha had the traditional business long back from these countries because of the cultural vibrancy. Now they have to withdraw back because of the lack of proper connectivity. We need to explore this. We need to take advantage of this connectivity, reassure these markets that you have potential of traveling directly from your hometown to Odisha because we have an international airport facility right across in Bhubaneswar. So instead of moving around this side, that side, they could come in directly to Bhubaneswar, explore the place, a wonderful cultural destination, natural destination, beach. And now, when I talk about beach, you need to think a big, because coastal tourism will be the future. Coastal tourism, you have 470 kilometer plus stretch of coastal virgin beach. You need to explore with coastal highways and coastal tourism, and that needs to be in a big way. When you have a big way, you become visible. For that, I remember I was sharing with Mr. Vikram before the meeting. I had the privilege to meet the late Rai Bahadur Sahib when he put the hotel in Bhubaneswar. Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi. We were in the Lifetime Achievement Award in Dubai 4 years back in Atlantis Palm, and I was sharing that. Late Rai Bahadur Sahib, when he put the hotel, the Oberoi, Odisha became visible internationally, because when you have a homegrown, reputed international brand, when you have Odisha in the list, that speaks to the world that there is facility, there is quality of service, people can come in, that is trustworthy. So you need to have international chain of hotels. We need to have first priority for the national chain of hotels. Give them all the facilities, one window clearance, all these things we've debated in the policy, and we are very proud because we compared this policy with Andhra government when Chandrababu Naidu, the former Andhra Pradesh, we cited that example to the board. We told that this is what. We fought left and right with the finance secretary, the ministers and everybody, and ultimately we could get this as a best policy in the country. Now this policy needs to be portrayed, relayed to the investors, how it's going to benefit them, equally also to penetrate to the local community, because as you embrace this tourism, you also need to have the embrace of the local community, the sector. Without that, you cannot have a way forward. So this is how we need to move forward, and of course, we have the political will right now with a strong leadership pushing forward in the Invest Odisha Meet. Tourism was one of the forefront agenda, and people have come in. But I would urge again the government and the stakeholders, especially with Mr. Vikram Oberoi, that as a president of the Indian Association of Federation of the Hotel Association, he needs to take forward with the other Indian hotel chains to think about it. Invest in Odisha, because it's going to be absolutely a win-win situation, because as you mentioned that 80% of the travelers which we see in the country is domestic. There's a huge potential. There's huge potential. This market needs to be harnessed. You have the natural sides, you have the cultural sides where development can come in, and this will change the whole scenario of Odisha's economy, and the past glory that she cherished could be enjoyed, people could experience in their lifetime. Bhubaneswar, saddest thing, I wanted to put a question in the earlier panel. We have the Civil Aviation Ministry has come forward with UDAN, the regional connectivity service. We got the license in Odisha for almost, 20 connectivity. Now, to have an international air connectivity successful and sustainable, you need this feeder service to feed that major airline. Unless this feeder is not there, they are not going to sustain. They will not get the strength. People will travel from western Odisha, southern Odisha to other neighboring states, whereas then your outflow would be minimized. The airlines will have a big face, and ultimately they'll back out. The other story is that I wanted to put again to the airport director, Mr. Hota, was that airlines come in, they negotiate, they speak to the airport authority with the ministry. Now, when they back out, the trade is lost. When such incidents takes place, when there is an alarm raised to the airport authority that we are going to withdraw the airlines, the connectivity, it should be immediately, engagement needs to be done with the government and the stakeholders to find out what's the reason. What is the problem that the airlines is facing, so that we can address it, we can come out with solutions and sustain them to, be with the state. You have Varanasi connection because Odisha, in general, if you look to the cultural circuit, Delhi, Agra, Khajuraho, Varanasi, and after that, it is Puri, Bhubaneswar, Konark, Puri. That's a complete circuit. When you have the Varanasi flight withdrawn, the FTOs, I think Mr. Pranav Sarkar also will agree that they withdrew the brochure program because culturally you're not connected. There's no connectivity between Varanasi and Bhubaneswar. We had fought with the government. IATO, Federations of Hotels have taken it with the government, and we had the Varanasi connectivity restored. Now suddenly we find during the season time, or before coming in now, the Varanasi flight is withdrawn. Nobody knows. These are serious concerns. We need to engage. So trade, the authorities need to engage, and we should move forward as a team so that we have the benefit of tourism in the state of Odisha. Thank you so much, and I look forward to have more interaction.
Thank you, Benjamin. Before I open it to the House, I have few questions myself. to ask to our eminent panelists, because we have over here the doyens of the industry. You know, tourism has to be a driving force for the economy, but there's something which has to drive tourism also. So my first question to Mr. Vikram Oberoi, sir, what is the evening life for tourists in Bhubaneswar, in Odisha? Because evening life for tourists is very important. What does a tourist do after 6 p.m. in the Odisha or in other places of Odisha? Can you please briefly highlight, sir?
So it really depends, and it's very hard to say one size doesn't fit all. I'll give you examples of some of our hotels. We have a hotel next to the Ranthambore National Reserve, and sorry, I'm not talking about Orissa or Bhubaneswar. It's a market that I don't know as well. But our guests get up in the morning there at before 5 o'clock. They go to the Jungle Reserve, 6 o'clock. They come back at about 9. They have breakfast, hang around the hotel, go for a jungle drive again in the afternoon. Maybe some of them go to a spa, have dinner at 8, and by 9 o'clock, the hotel is absolutely quiet. Right? So those guests are not looking for evening entertainment. They're looking for peace, solitude, a nice environment, wildlife, etc. I'll give you a contrast. Our hotel in Delhi. You go to the restaurant at 1 in the morning, people are there. They're looking for a different experience. So I think one size doesn't fit all, and you can't cater to everybody. I think what you really need to focus on, so if it's religious tourism, for example, what those guests will need will be very different to what another guest, a wildlife guest, would need. People who come and experience the wildlife of Orissa will look for a very different experience. And I think service providers, whether they're hotels or other service providers in our industry, really need to understand who their market is, who that customer is, what is the need of that customer, and then be able to provide a service that that customer appreciates, enjoys, and most importantly, goes and talks about and tells friends and colleagues, I had such a great time. It was an incredible experience, so you must go there as well. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, I was just looking at the Jaipur by night. There was a kind of a initiative by the government of Rajasthan, Jaipur by night. It has worked wonders. Foreign tourists who are going to come to this state and come to Bhubaneswar would certainly look forward to a life after 6 p.m. And my little own experience at Nandankanan. Many of us have seen the night safari at Singapore. Government should take some kind of a step to look at a night safari kind of a thing in Nandankanan, if possible. I know, see, those who dream the most do the most. So let's dream. No point in not dreaming about it. Okay, fine. Now let's go to Mr. Pranab Sarkar. He is, of course, heading IATO. Sir, I would like to ask you one question. Once again, tourism to be a driving force. How are you at IATO driving Odisha?
Odisha is not new for IATO. And I am in this industry for last 41 years. And I am selling Odisha for last 41 years. I have no break in it. And I know you have to create a demand, first of all. And once you create a demand, then the requirement comes. As I mentioned, unless you do the proper promotion, it won't happen. Like, you go on the road, you will see lot of hoardings. There is a Gucci bag, okay? How many shops you find in the city of the Gucci bags? Maybe one. Or some stores, they may be having 2. But they are creating the demand that there is a bag of style, it is available. So they create. Similarly, Odisha government has to come up and advertise about Odisha, that not only in India but also abroad, that this is Odisha. You want to see some ecotourism, come Odisha. If you want to see some cultural dances, come to Odisha. If you want to relax, come to the beaches of Odisha. So like this, subject-wise, you have to create your branding. Once you create your branding, then only it will happen and the growth will be there. Like you may have an airport of international standard, but airlines are not coming. International airlines are not coming to you. Why? Because you have to make this airport economically viable for two-way traffic. It cannot be sustainable on one-way traffic. Therefore, I give you one example. When Amritsar became the international airport, day one it clicked because lot of Sikhs are working in Western countries, whether it is USA or it is in Middle East countries. They were two-way traffic because they are coming, going, and resulting. Tourism got the advantage, and the growth of Amritsar has become much faster than expected. Similarly, it has to happen in Odisha. Your airport may be of international standard, but not many Odisha people are working abroad or the Southeast Asia. So there is no two-way traffic. So you have to create a demand. You have to create two-way traffic, and you will see the international airports and international airlines are coming in. Therefore, I suggested yesterday, we had a good meeting with the governor, that medical tourism is one of the aspects Odisha can think of. On the medical tourism, you will have some extra load of people from the Southeast Asia to come and avail the cheap medical services. You have the best of the doctors, and you can create something extra for the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You see, what I was trying to aim is that the promotion, you talked about promotion. I would certainly hype on the fact that IATO must promote this destination worldwide. See, you are bringing in inbound tourists, you are bringing in foreign tourists. Government can facilitate, government can create an infrastructure, but the main responsibility of promotion must vest with the private sector. The private sector needs to come up and promote this state like anything. And for that, IATO, I would request you, sir, all members of IATO who are attending WTM, ITB, and selling India across the world, I would request you all to really promote. Promotion has to be by the private sector. Government gives the infrastructure and the facilitation. With this, may I now open this to the House. I would like you to identify yourself and ask few questions. We have 5 minutes time, please, because I would like to stick to the time of exactly 40 minutes.
Good afternoon. I am Arijit Palit. Actually, I am writing a tourism book on Odisha called Odisha Tour Guide. So I am planning to launch it in December. That's separate. But what my question is, we are all harping on infrastructure, and primarily what we have seen is people are talking about hotels. Now, hotels like the one Sir Vikram Oberoi heads and all, they will take time to come up. One thing which I got to know when I was traveling is when I met the weavers, the Pattachitra artists and all, they are very open to the idea of entertaining guests. Now, why don't we look at the option of promoting homestays? Maybe this brand like Swosti can take over, say, 2-3 villages in the vicinity of, say, Nuapatna or Digapandi, where the artists are there, and they can train the people and get the infrastructure done. And people are looking at homestays in a big way, like Airbnb, even Yatra.com. And everybody is like, no.
Fine, thank you. I think I've got you. You're talking about homestays for budget travelers, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Benjamin, can you answer this, please? You are at the point of action in the state.
Yes, homestay experience is talk of the present travelers' need, because that comes into the budget. Now, homestay experience also needs to be relayed in its right form. For that, you need to have a commitment, a passion to serve these guests who are going to stay with you. The concept is that a family should own the room, and the family should participate with the guest. Yeah. Many have misunderstood that. They think that letting out a room the client will come and stay, and then it's not that. The homestay is a different experience. They wanted to know the local, the partner with whom they are going, I mean the homestay provider, so that learn about the culture, they learn about their lifestyle background, and in turn, we also in turn learn about them. So this needs to be, a lot of awareness campaign needs to be taken forward, and equally, the liabilities are huge. The liabilities also needs to be related to the homestay owners. You see, today's travelers are smart enough. Yeah. They come into a lot of legal formalities before they undertake the travel. So a lot of awareness campaign needs to be first taken forward, then providing homestay experience immediately, and then inviting problem. We need to invite people who are interested, engage with them, and then if they have the passion, if they have the commitment to give, and that, you see, it should not be a disappointment experience, rather it should be an experience of a lifetime, building global citizens, bringing together.
And homestays are, coming up in the state, and they are growing.
Yeah, can I add to the point, please?
Yeah, can you please come up, please?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I don't know how many of you know that in Raghurajpur there is a small guest house which was prepared by Intac, and it is run by the villagers only.
The point is, first you have to sell Odisha as a brand.
Yes,
we
sir.
do not get enough tourists. Once you market the brand, what you are talking about, spillover restructuring. Yes, if today Swosti Group gets tremendous amount of business, the intake is too much, I will be ready to take those 3 villages, adopt them, and incorporate them in the tourism framework. You are right, but that will take very long time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And thank you very much, the panelists. We indeed had a very fruitful discussion. Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
May I now request Shri Shankar Pradhan, Vice Chairman, HRAO, and Managing Director, Hotel Shanti Anugul, to kindly present small tokens of love to the gentleman on ties. To Shri Amarendra Khatwaji, Shri Vikram Oberoi, Shri Pranab Sarkar, and Shri Benjamin Simon. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for all those words of wisdom. All the speakers stand for success stories that has inspired us all. And thank you, the moderator, Shri Rahul Chakravarti, for the wonderful moderation of this session.